Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your hostess, femininity coach, and author of The Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. So there is a viral video going around where Judge Mathis sort of addresses the information that his wife recently filed for a divorce from him. And so this is a clip from TMZ, who ended up catching up with him. And he had a few things to say in regards to his own situation. So let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
How are you today, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I want to ask.
I'm not good. Rather, it's the worst days of my life. How about that?
Okay, well, I'm sorry to hear that. I wanted to ask you, with news of the separation, how are you holding up?
Not holding up very well. I would say the other man, maybe I'll be an example for other men, cautionary tale. Don't neglect your wife. See how me at the airport now, flying out, as I have for 40 or for 25 years. My wife has been third, serving the community, taping my show, having fun with friends. That's what happens, guys. Never be too busy or never have too much fun beyond your wife.
So I do want to ask, the date of separation is listed back in July 17th. Mm-hmm. Has this been coming for some time now, or was it something out the blue?
Well, ever since we started taping here in LA, I committed to staying home more and making my wife more of a priority. But as you see, I haven't. I'm still here on the road doing the same thing. And in terms of going out into another city. But I was gone for 3 weeks. That's what July 17th meant.
Would you say you two are in a good place right now, or able to maintain a friendship? Or
oh yeah, we're still in the same house and we're maintaining a friendship. And I'm trying to get my wife back. I have to show her that though. Mm-hmm. Hopefully I can show her while we're there together before, and hopefully she doesn't complete the process. But I'm changing in hopes that she will. I'm gonna get my wife back. How about that? Absolutely. I just wanted to eliminate all the rumors too, that it's something about a baby or even me molesting a child. It's none of that. I've just told you what it is.
There were also, kind of some rumors of any infidelity. Did you want to clear that up at all? You say it's solely neglect.
Well, neglect can create suspicion, certainly. And if you're gone as much as I am, you have every right to suspect. You go to work, you go serve in the community around the country, then you go with your guys to sporting events around the country, you go to other events without your wife hanging with you and enjoying herself with you. And so, yeah, she would have a right to suspect infidelity.
But there was none of that going on.
That's not the purpose. That's not the reason for this.
Hey, Judge Mathis, how are you today, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
So it was interesting how he framed and characterized this situation. I thought it was interesting. It might be worthy to talk about it in more depth than this video, maybe. I don't know. But just to summarize what he's talking about, he's basically saying, okay, we know that they've been married for pretty much 40 years, right? And we know that they got married out of college. So they were together before he was Judge Mathis, before any TV show, before any career in law, before any of that, before the money, before the lifestyle, before any of it, they were together. And they raised children together during all of this. And you could imagine that a TV show, but before the TV show, the career, right? Being a lawyer, all of these different things, the education you got, the different sacrifices that you have to go through in order to get to the place where there is a lifestyle to live, that he could run a TV show, and have all of these various obligations outside of his home and things of that nature, to the point where their children are adults that are in their 30s. So they've been out of the house. And so now you have a woman who is not occupied anymore by children, right? So for the first half of this marriage, she is, from his accounts, and really always his account, right? It's not new. He's always said how much of a support system she has been, how much of a good mom she's been, how much of a good wife she's been. And he often credits her as saying, I wouldn't have really been able to turn myself around and get to where I have gotten to without the sacrifices and the support of my wife, right? And so he's always given her like these kudos, right? And so, and I'm speaking of this from the perspective of a married a married woman. Have been married my whole adult life, right? And this is why I talk about the 10 life values and why they're so important, the order in which things come, right? Because it's not about one thing not being important and the other thing being important. It's about a balance. What he's talking about has been his lack of balance and his wrong prioritization. Because here we see the internal values come first. Family is number 3, right? Which he's saying she's number 3, which she's in the right position, but profession and leisure are not. Right? That's what's out of position. She should be number 3 because she's family. The problem with his prioritizing isn't that she's number 3. It's just that profession and leisure are 1 and 2. Right? That's the problem. All right? Profession and leisure can't be 1 and 2. It can't be, because what happens is if you take these 10 life values out of order and you start putting stuff ahead of family that don't belong ahead of family, what happens is the people that are in your family, your spouse in particular, starts resenting you because they don't understand why these things are ahead of them. They know something comes ahead of them. It just has to be the right thing to come ahead of them so that they can understand where your priorities come from, and they don't have to feel left out. They don't have to feel ignored. They don't have to feel neglected or that they're not a part of anything. And I'm hoping that y'all understand that that's what he's talking about. See, when you have a wife that has been with you when you had nothing, and then she was with you when you got that something, and then she's been with you beyond the children. So it wasn't even like she was biding time till the children are grown. The children are in their 30s, right? Well, I think the oldest one is probably on their way to knocking 40 in the butt. So it wasn't that, right? And she may have been, I can imagine, preoccupied with raising the kids. So if he's on his grind, she can't be traveling and going around with him. It's impractical, right? Because somebody's got to be there to raise the children. Somebody's got to be there to take care of the home front. Somebody, if he's on his grind, then he needs the wife's support to do her role so he can do his role properly for his family, right? She probably understood that. That probably made a lot of sense to her, right? And any woman, any wife worth anything, worth the salt going bread, will actually understand that. And even though sacrifices come with that, lonely nights come with that she may not like, she'll swallow that because it comes with the territory, right? It comes with the territory. So you sacrifice that time. Okay, because your husband can't do two things at once. He can't do two things that are mutually exclusive, right? So he's not going to be able to go out there, make the dream come true, work the plan if he's in your face. So any woman with any sense understands that point. Okay, he can't constantly be in my face if he's going to be doing all of the things that we set out and he set out to do You know what I'm saying? It's gonna cause for the sacrifice of time. Okay. Now the sacrifice of time is a bigger sacrifice than almost anything, because time is the thing that you can't get back. You can never recuperate those years. They'll never go back to their youth. They can't rewind that. Once that time is gone, it's gone. Okay. And whatever you did with it, you better hope you did the right thing. Right. Okay. So he named 3 things. He named, she's actually was number 4 probably, because he named 3 things. He named, if I'm not mistaken, he said doing, like activism and community work across the country, right? His work and hanging out with his friends. So actually, I probably take that back. He did put her, which was family, in the number 4 spot. She's supposed to be in the number 3 spot. And so here's, listening to what he said, it gives a clearer picture on what's probably been happening a long time, because he was even asked about infidelity, and he didn't say there has never been any cheating. He said that isn't what this is about. So what that tells me is that there's been infidelity likely on his side, because he's like, well, it could raise suspicion of it because I'm gone and I'm everywhere doing everything without her, right? So that tells me a couple of things. That tells me that they've been able to like get over the infidelity, right? He probably was doing his thing, okay? Doing his thing, I'm telling you. Now, typically speaking, once a man starts getting a little older, because they're both in their early 60s, he probably not doing that to the degree that he was probably doing it in his 30s or maybe even 40s. Okay. Men start slowing down on that, because especially if they got to have a lot of access to different women, with the novelty of that wears off. So it's not as much of a thing to do so consistently, right, as they get older. Okay. So he's probably not with other women as often as he was probably 15 years ago or something like that, right? So they was able to get over it. She looked over that. They got over it because they remained married. So however they got over it, whether it was therapy, whether she just turned her head about it, whether they argued about it, however that went down, they didn't get a divorce off the back of that, right? Okay. So what happens is you have to not only prioritize things properly within your marriage, because there's a balance. He's older now. He's not in the midst of his grind anymore. That hard nose to grind, he's not doing that no more. He been not doing that. He's in the twilight of that. This is like retirement age. The stuff that he do now is just by choice, not because he need money. They ain't grinding. And you heard what he said. So this is something that she has been bringing up to him probably over the years. I need a little bit more of you, right? Because you give yourself to everybody, and then I get the little scrap crumbs that you're willing to throw my way, right? But when the chips are down, the people that you give your all to, they're not here. I'm here. So it's not fair to me that they get the best of you and I get what's left of you. You got to save a little bit for me. So when you get around me, now all of a sudden your cup is full and your plate is full. And so any little thing that I need out of you is too much for you to give to me, because you've given it already to this person and that organization and this event and those people and whatever. You know what I'm saying? You've divvied yourself out so much that even even though I'm not even asking for a lot of you, it's like the little that I want of you is too much of a burden. It's too much. It's too much for you to do. And if she's been expressing that, then he knew that. He knew it. He knew it. And he said out of his mouth in this clip that the purpose of moving was so that he could be closer to things and that he could spend more time with her. And he said, but I haven't done that. I've actually continued to do what I've been doing for these last X amount of years, regardless of the fact that we had this conversation. We did a whole move, maneuver in order to resolve the situation. She probably thought it was resolved. But old habits die hard. So he's doing the same thing he's been doing. And she probably was like, wait a minute. I know we didn't make this plan together. He promised me that there was going to be this change and that change. And you know what I'm saying? Da, 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 da. You know what I'm saying? And he was going to start doing this, that, and the third, blah, 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 blah. And I look up and a year later, 2 years later, however long it's been, and this is still going on. Like, come on. How many times do we got to have this conversation? I'm telling you what I need from you. I spent a lot of time turning my head the other way and waiting my turn. So this is what he's saying. He's saying, and this is what I'm getting from what he said. What he's saying is she's upset with him because has waited 40 years for her turn to be the focus of his attention more. And he thought he had time. That's what this is. He thought that he had time. Eventually he'll get around to it, right? Eventually he'll sit down and pay her some more attention. She's trying to get the attention while she's, spry enough to do something. You know what I'm saying? No need to wait until you're 80 and all you can do is rock in your rocking chair now. Especially, and here's another thing that I'm kind of getting out of it. Them kids grown, right? So she probably wondering, like, why come I can't come with you sometimes? Because I'm no longer occupied by the raising of children. We're empty. This is an empty nest, and it's been an empty nest for a minute now. So yeah, you get girlfriends, you get a hobby, but nothing don't replace your man. For anybody that want to be like, oh, she should have had a hobby, she probably do. You got enough money to have a hobby. You got enough money to, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure that she has people that, ladies that she hang with or talk with or blah, blah, blah. But none of that don't replace your man. Your man is not replaced by your girlfriends. Your man is not replaced by no hobby. Sometimes you just want your man and nothing else is a replacement for him. Other stuff, you don't want to do that stuff. You don't want, you know what I'm saying? You ain't married to that stuff. You ain't married to them people. You ain't married to your good girlfriend to go have brunch and cocktails with. You ain't married to her. She cool sometimes. But she ain't cool when you want your man. She ain't no substitute for that. Sometimes you just want your man. And nothing else will do, and nobody else will do. It just is what it is. And this sounds like a case of, and even though he's probably protecting her as well by taking the full accountability for things, because that's not to say that she hasn't contributed to the breakdown of the marriage. I'm a big proponent, like I've said before. If the marriage is in breakdown, then both people are contributing to it. So it's not one-sided. It's never one-sided. However, with that being said, and taking what he's saying about his own situation, sometimes you get into a comfort zone with people, that people be so solid with you that you take that person for granted. Oh, they ain't going nowhere. They ain't going nowhere. They'll be all right. I'll get back to them. I'll circle back around to them later. You know. And that sound like some of what's happening here. I'll get around to her, you know, because she ain't going nowhere. Has she expressed this stuff to me before? Yeah. And it ain't like I ain't hear it, but it ain't urgent to me either. It ain't real urgent to me. There didn't seem to be an urgency for him with her. Cause like she gonna do what I need her to do anyway. So I ain't really gotta pay attention to her. You know, I give her a little bit. And she'll be okay with that because she's always been okay with that. So since she's always been okay with that, there is no need for me to change or do anything any differently than the way I've been doing stuff. Even though she's telling me that the relationship and the dynamics have evolved and changed, and therefore she's requiring more of me than she did 15, 20 years ago. I don't, I mean, she'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? When I come home, I tell her I love her. You know what I'm saying? And we may talk and stuff like that. And, I'm usually able to smooth it over. I'm usually able to crack a joke, or I'm usually able to, charm her, or I'm usually able to say this or do that. And then she be okay. And sometimes people get lulled into a false sense of security with another person or with they spouse, because they spouse been so solid with them. And you know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes we get into a thing with people that's closest to us where we feel like we ain't got to do as much for them, or we don't have to show up for them that much. They'll be all right. And you got to be careful with that, because there's a threshold for it. And I'm going to say this, and then, I'll speak a little bit from personal experience. I'm a giver, right? I'm a giver. I'm a server. That's how I get my joy. I like to give more than I receive, right? So I'll give all of this affection, all of this attention, all of this nurturing, all of this, support. I'll give it. I'll give it until I don't have it to give anymore. I don't really require a whole lot in return. I don't require, what I give, I don't require that equal amount in return in order to be okay. Like I can be okay with not as much, you know what I'm saying? But the trick to that is that you can't go below the threshold. See, just because I don't require a whole lot, that doesn't mean you can give me nothing. You can't give me nothing. You don't have to give me a lot, but you can't ignore me either. You don't have to go out of your way every day, all the time, bending over backwards to try to figure out. I don't even make them kind of requirements. On the flip side, you can't go to the other extreme and act like I'm not here, and like you ain't got to talk to me, and like you ain't got to interact with me, and like you ain't got to, have no availability for me. You can't do it. And sometimes people get caught up with that, with a person like that. Oh, they don't require a whole lot of me. Well, then I can give them nothing. Then I can give them nothing. I can give them what I want them to have, not what they say they need out of me. I can give them what I want to give them. And I'm going to ignore what they say they need from me. And they'll be okay. And it doesn't work like that. It really don't work like that at all. Because if I'm the type of person that I can understand it if you're doing this and doing that and doing that, and maybe I'm not your first, second, or third priority. I can understand that. You cannot make me the first priority, but you can't not make me no priority. Because if out of 100 things I only ask for 3 things, you got to give me them 3 things. If I'm going to sacrifice 97 things, and I only say, listen, the only thing I need out of you is A, B, and C. I mean, you better give me A, B, and C. Because I'm not even putting a whole lot of pressure. I'm not even applying a whole lot of pressure. So if you can't muster up A, B, and C for me, well then that makes me think, maybe in your eyes, I'm not worth A, B, and C then. Maybe. Because I'm watching you muster it up for everybody else. But when you get to me, now all of a sudden, A, B, and C is too taxing and you can't do it. But you do have it though. You have it. You're just not giving it to me. And I that's all I asked you for. I didn't even ask you for, you know what I'm saying, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. I ain't even asked you for none of that. I just want A, B, and C. That's all I want. That's all I've ever wanted. And maybe you give me A sometime. You might give me C, A, Give me A, B, and C. I've been said this. Give me A, B, and C. Why are you tripping? That's too much. I can't get A, B, and C. That's what he's saying that she's coming from. So I want A, B, and C, and you can't give that to me. After all this time, I still have not worked up to the value of giving me A, B, and C. Right. So he's saying that his wife is tired and he wants his wife back. I hope you get her back. I'm actually a proponent of, because I don't like to see all that time gone to waste in a marriage, because you love each other, you with each other for this long for reasons. It hasn't been all bad. It couldn't have been all bad from either side. But this is a question of priorities and balance, right? That's what this sounds like. You had your run. You ain't got to go out there and grind like that no more. You playing golf now. You know what I'm saying? You playing golf. You doing stuff that you want to do at this point versus, man, I got to do this stuff because I got to, because if I want to get to this place, you've already reached the goal. You've already achieved it and gone past it, as a matter of fact, which is good. Great. That's what we was going for. Now that you've done that, let's kind of let up a little bit so I can join in on the fun, right? Because I'm not raising kids no more. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So why come we can't take the trip? Sometimes. Like, I ain't got to go all the time, but sometimes. Right? I know you want to kick it with your friends. I'm not saying you can't kick it with your friends, but I'm your friend too. You can't kick it with me none. You understand? This is how you make marriages work. I hope that they do. I hope that they're able to come to terms with each other. I hope that they're able to truly empathize with one another and see things from each of their perspectives, that she can see things from his perspective and he can see things from her perspective, and that they can genuinely find that balance and find that compromise and find that good space that they can be in, so they can be married until one of them pass away. That's what I'm hoping. He sounds optimistic about being able to recover his marriage. And it may be in a recoverable state. And so if it is in a recoverable state, I hope they recover it. I actually do. Because so many times being a coach, I can see the way through, but sometimes people be tired and they don't want to do the work that's necessary to actually get to the other side. Maybe because they think they've done work, but don't mistake work. Don't mistake work for progress. You might be toiling away, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're making progress, though, right? Because if you jog in place, you doing work, but did you go anywhere? That's what I mean. It was work, but it wasn't progress, right? If I jog in place, you know what I'm saying, for 5 minutes, I'm exhausted. You know what I'm saying? I'm breathing hard. Man, I jogged in place. But did I make it anywhere? Did I cover any distance at all? No, I did not. So that's what I mean by don't mistake work for progress. They may have been working, but it doesn't seem like the proper progress was made. And they may need someone to help them see where the work should turn into progress and therefore get to the other side of it, so that they can maintain their marriage in a healthy state. I'm hoping, I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for Judge Mathis and his wife to reconcile their marriage. I really don't want to see their marriage dissolve. All right, jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your hostess, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.